Hello. Uh, I was thinking about doing some memories today, but I'm just not in the mood. It's one of those days when you have those when you're dealing with anxiety and depression. Um, you have days where you just don't want to, like, everything's a blur, or it feels like your whole life is meaningless at times. There's times when it's just you feel like you're walking through a fog, and it can cause you to have lots of problems. Yeah, like I said, I one of the things it starts you to do is to second guess your your decisions. Sorry, I'm just trying to fix something. But anyway, so what it's trying to do is trying to make you second guess, and today I just been second guessing a lot of decisions I've made, and I don't know. I just don't feel like I'm here. Um, the problem with when you're going through these kind of issues is you're wondering, why life is like it is. Why me? You know, I granted, like I said before in other videos, you know, things have happened to me is my own making of substance. I should have done more as a teenager or growing up. I didn't have a father figure because my father, I think I mentioned it like I said in another video. My father passed away when I was 10 years old, and he was an alcoholic. He was what they call a functioning alcoholic, where they basically he got up, went to work every day, um, but come Friday, because back then they pay you every week, not every 2 weeks. He'd get his paycheck, and he'd go down to the local bar, he'd cash his paycheck at the local bar, and drink it up. And of course, the local bartender, I think, was basically taking money from them because they knew, once they got inebriated, they didn't know what was going on. So a lot of them, they took their money, and they didn't have anything left. I remember my mom arguing with my father. That's one thing my dad never did. He never struck my mom. So even though he was an alcoholic, and that I know of, my mom never said he ever hit her. And I know my dad was told me, he said when I was young, he said, son, if I ever know you hit a woman, I'll knock you across the room. So as far as I know, he never struck my mom. Even when he was drunk, there's pictures uh, before I can remember Christmases, back when we first moved down to Southern Illinois, where he we showed him unwrapping the packages. You can clearly see he was hungover. He was out drinking. I remember my brother going out and pulling him out of a bar on Christmas Eve. Um, he, like I said, him being an alcoholic, he wasn't there. He never taught me things, like usually, and I'm not trying to be sexist, but there's a lot of things, fathers will teach their sons growing up. Give them, advice, guide them, stuff like that. I didn't have that. My mom was a great woman. Don't get me wrong. She, you know, was she was really there for me. She was my only parent growing up, and like I said, it's hard, and uh, trying to. Sorry if I pause. It's trying to get my thoughts together. But anyway, my upbringing, I should have. There was so much I should have done differently that I didn't. Now I have regrets, and like today, it's just hitting me like a hammer, and I feel like I'm walking through a haze or a fog. Uh, there's so much I've screwed up. I wish I could have had stuff differently. You know, if I would have done things differently, had a better life. And now that I look, like I said, I'm going on 58 years old, and the regrets in the past has hit me. I don't mean to keep rambling on videos about things about what's gone on in the past, and like I said, how it affects me now. But like I said, I do it because it's kind of therapeutic a little bit, I guess is the word, to try to talk about it and know that like I said, I know a lot of people say, well, move on, you can move on from your mistakes, and I just wish I would have realized my mistakes a lot earlier in life, instead of now at 57. And it's one of those things when if you had your parents, like I said, my mom, she wasn't one to, she'd tell you, things, to do, do this, do that. But I kind of wish I had a firm father figure who would, take me by the hand or by the hair or anything and say, this is, no, you're doing it wrong. This is how you do it. That's something my mom would never do. I would love to have the kind of father interaction like my brother at one time. He was like me, was an introvert. He didn't do so well socially. My sister had told me she used to grab him and take him out to do things because he would, stay in the basement all the time and draw. And so he was kind of like me, which is weird. He turned around and came down to visit us one time. Because he was staying up in St. Louis, we were living down south, so he came down to visit. There was a girl next door. She was pregnant at the time. Like I said, I was a kid, so I didn't really realize all this. And so my brother was sitting outside drawing, and she seen him out there, and I think she took interest in him mainly. And this is from years later after they got married and stuff, that he turned around, and I think the whole purpose was for her to have a father for her child. And my dad realized this, and I remember as a kid my father taking my brother to the side and saying, son, you do not want to marry that girl. You don't want nothing to do with her. And he said, but I remember him saying, but Dad, I love her. It's that kind of thing that I wish I had with my father. It could, especially growing up. My brother at the time was in his late 20s. I would have loved to have a father figure who came to me and said, son, you need to do it this way. You need to do it that way. Sort of like a guide, basically to pass on, fatherly advice. My mom really never gave advice too much. She was basically, there. And like I said, she was a great mother. She raised me. She loved me. But, she didn't give that firm advice that I probably should have had. growing up. I wish I could have had. And I think my father would have been one of those ones who would have took me to the side and said, "Hey, son, you need to do this, you need to do that." And like I said, without that kind of advice, I just did stupid stuff and stuff. Now I realize that was dumb, and I still make bad decisions. I just made a few bad decisions, and some of it was because of the anxiety. I know with general anxiety disorder, one of the things that I read on it was, like I said in another video, was making decisions difficult, and it is. And I think I made some bad decisions, money wise and financially, and how things went. So it is a struggle every day, and that's why I try to make these, to let people know, what we deal with, people who have what I deal with, and others out there like me. Anyway, I don't want to ramble again. I'm going to try to make more memory videos of stuff that went ahead in my childhood. I don't want it to drive people crazy with these mental health videos all the time. Ironic. But anyway, I just wanted to make this video today because I just had to talk, and even if it's to myself, to let people know and myself know what's going on. But I know that doesn't sound right. But anyway, thank you for watching. If you are watching, if you're going through the same things, bless you. And know you're not alone. So everyone have a good night.